Unlike preschool, primary school teachers have a bigger workload and more children to manage. So they will not be able to update you daily about what your child is learning in class or how your child is behaving. There may or may not be a parent-teacher meeting twice a year, so it really depends on the school. You might be wondering, how am I going to find out about my kid's progress or his behaviors in class? In this video, I'll share with you the varied modes of communication as well as how you can partner with the teacher to help your kids grow and thrive. Hi, I'm Jacinth. I'm a parenting coach and an ex-school teacher. If your child is entering primary 1 soon, please be assured that your child will be able to adapt. You just have to trust yourself, trust your child, and trust the school. And I'll tell you more in this video. At this time of recording, my son is in primary 2, my girl is in K2. So I kind of know what to expect and how to communicate with the teachers in his school since I've done it for 2 years. And I'm definitely more chill this time around with my girl entering primary school. So I hope to share with you some tips to alleviate your concerns about how you can be in the know, of what your kids are experiencing. So in this transition to primary 1 video series, there are 5 episodes. Episode 1 is on academic learning. Episode 2 is on adjusting to the new school environment. Episode 3 is on developing habits and routines at home. Episode 4 is on building social emotional competencies. And this episode is episode 5, the parent-school partnership. I have conducted Zoom interviews and email interviews to speak to several primary school teachers just to find out exactly how they communicate with parents. I want to take this opportunity to thank the teachers Miss Lu, Miss Joyce, Miss Hui Sing, Miss Serene, and more who prefer to be anonymous. I have repeated this in all my videos, but I'm going to say it again. Every school is different and every teacher is different. While I have spoken to several primary school teachers, the things that I've shared may or may not apply in your child's school. So let's get started on some of the modes of communication that you can use to communicate with your child's teachers. At the beginning of the year, the teacher will introduce himself or herself as your child's form teacher. The form teacher will also share how you can reach him or her via the Class Dojo app or via WhatsApp. The Class Dojo app is something that you can download and you will have an account for yourself and your child, and you can use that to message and communicate with the teachers. A few things to note: this is based on my personal experience and my interview with the teachers. Firstly, please be polite when contacting the teachers. Respect is a two-way street. So make sure you address the teachers by their names and say your please and thank you. Secondly is to respect the teachers' boundaries. Teachers have shared that parents should not expect the teachers to reply them after school hours or even late at night. This is because the teachers are like you and me. They have their families, they have kids, and they need to rest as well. Thirdly, while the teachers have disseminated information in the Class Dojo app or via WhatsApp, chances are they have already communicated this to your kids. So I would recommend that you don't tell your kids the information that you receive. For example, don't say things like, "Your teacher said there is a spelling on Thursday." This is because the child will then learn to rely on you for the information and not pay attention in class, or think that all the information that the teacher shared is not important because mommy and daddy will know through the app anyway. For me, I never tell my son what I read on the app. So there was once he came back and tell me, "Mommy, do you know that there is early dismissal because we are celebrating Children's Day?" Well, I already know it and I told him, "Thank you for telling me that." Right, now let's talk about the class WhatsApp group. I believe most classes now have a parents WhatsApp group. I've heard from friends, that some WhatsApp groups are so active where the parents will openly complain about the teachers or share lots of dirty laundry in the WhatsApp group. But thankfully for me, I've been in groups that are very, very respectful and we only communicate when needed. But please don't abuse the group chats. Now this is what I mean. There are parents who are constantly asking in the group chat for the weekly spelling list or even asking if there is spelling or not. Well, there's nothing wrong with that if, for example, your child was not in school. So for example, my son, he wasn't in school for 2 days. So I find out from the parents whether there are any new updates from the teachers or, are there any sudden spelling, and then you can ask in those group chat. But there are some parents who ask about spelling every single week, asking for the list. Now, this is your child's responsibility. So if the child learns that, I can always depend on my mom to ask the group for the spelling list, then the child will not take good care of his own items, maybe the spelling list, or even remember when there's spelling and when there's no spelling. So like I say, let your child be the one to tell you any new information that he or she receives from school, instead of you letting your kids know that there will always be a backup, which is the parents' WhatsApp group chat. And also, like I mentioned, to be mindful of how we communicate in those groups. So not to be rude, disrespectful, or hang your dirty laundry out there. How we present ourselves is a reflection of how we educate our kids. So if you have any issues, before jumping straight to the principal, it will be respectful if you can communicate with your child's teachers via the official modes of communication. We don't want to blame or shame the child. All the stakeholders just want the best for the children. So politely find out more before you jump to conclusions or become defensive. In my years of teaching, I've met many understanding parents who are very invested in their child's learning. I can't say for all teachers, but I think most of the teachers want the best for the child as well, even though they will all have different teaching styles and beliefs. I guess there are some teachers who don't like the parents to micromanage, so you might want to hear about the teacher's expectations from the beginning of the school year, or you can even ask questions to find out more. The other app that you should download is the Parents Gateway, which I think most of you would have by now. Most official information will be disseminated by the Parents Gateway app, so download the app and turn on the notifications. It is important that you read the information sent via the app and immediately note down the dates of early dismissal or school closure. So for me personally, when I read the letters at the beginning, I didn't note down the dates, so I tend to forget it. But now I learned that once I see maybe the early dismissal on a certain date, I will note it down in my calendar immediately. I think it's also irresponsible if the information has been sent to us, but we are constantly asking the teacher about maybe when is school closure or whether they have exams and all. Then it just shows that we are not paying attention to these details, but yet we want our kids to do it. So we have to be good role models to show our children how it is done. But I also understand sometimes the letters are really long and some of the dates we might miss out. So let's just do whatever we can, do our best to remember the dates and work with your kids to remind you as well. This is the least that we can do to help nurture our children and help them to develop. When your kids are the one who communicate with you, you are also building their language skills, their social skills, and their listening skills as well. In general, trust the kid and trust the school. We don't have to micromanage everything. It's going to be very exhausting, and worse if you have more than one primary school going kid. Let your child relieve you of your job. Let the child be the one to tell you what you need to know. Your child is more capable than you think he is. We also want to teach children that home and school are safe spaces for them. A teacher shared with me that this parent often threatened the child. If you do not do this, I will tell your teacher. What is the message that we are sending here? That the teacher is a bad person? That is not true. The teacher is there to care for the child. So be very careful of the way that you speak to your kids. Avoid threatening, focus on building skills in your kids. So this is my channel, and I also want to use this platform to reach out to the teachers who are listening and watching. I've heard of teachers who blame, shame the child in front of all his classmates. And also teachers who tear the kids' homework or even throw the child's bag on the floor. Although I teach positive parenting to teachers, positive discipline can be applied in the classroom as well. Teachers, if you're watching this, your response to the kids, your reactions can have a lasting impact on their minds. The child whose worksheet was torn is going to feel traumatized, maybe even for the rest of his life. These emotional wounds can take a long time to heal. While I know it's hard to manage a class of 30 students, you can still be firm and empathetic at the same time. You can still excel in classroom management while building connection with the kids. I know that if I'm going back to the classroom, I'm going to look past these kids' behaviours and try to understand their underlying needs. A child acting out in class may have problems at home. We want to help the child not just academically, but in holistic development of the child. These young minds are easily moldable, so use your superpower to influence them positively. If teachers, you are distressed, get help manage your emotions. Do not discharge the stress and rage in the classroom. My last words, your child is more adaptable than you think. Be present to support your child in all areas, whether the cognitive aspects and the non-cognitive aspects. Set realistic expectations and don't over-prepare your kids academically. take note of his social and emotional development as well. When you can build a trusting relationship with your child, you are seen as a source of comfort and your child will go to you whenever he or she faces any difficulties. I wish you all the best, and feel free to let me know how the tips have been helpful for you, and also tell me if you have watched all 5 videos. I would love to connect with you either on Instagram or Facebook, so feel free to reach out to me there. Alright, I'll see you next time. Goodbye!